Sweet.
All right, everybody, welcome back to episode number 14 of the UFL Newsletter Podcast. I am your host, Commissioner Cole Wagner, Jared Snyder, back here on a Friday evening. And we got to start cranking some more out because it is week one here starting on Monday of the UFL season, right? Yeah, because our first game's Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so ideally, man, like tonight, once I have some more time, I may even get on like midnight and just start cranking out some more because I want all these done by Monday. So we got David Katz here. Lot to talk about. No better way to follow up a UFL Cup champion pod with the UFL runner-up pod here for David Katz. As everybody knows, he lost a heartbreaker in 2024 to myself 165 to 159. He was up by one with 2 minutes to go. San Francisco throws Juwan Jennings the ball. Next thing you know, I am crowned champion. David had the best roster. If you ask anybody last year, he was the favorite. It's still an incredible run, and this team is still poised to make another hopefully deep run for David. Jared, just talk to me a little bit about, and I'll share the screen here. Talk to me a little bit about David's 2024 season and just recap a little bit and if you think he'll be back to the promised land in 2025.
I'm gonna lead with a positive for him that he will definitely probably be in the mix for the playoffs next season. I have a hard time imagining Lamar does not keep him in that mix, and Derrick Henry, that's just a two-headed monster right there.
Yep.
But I will bring up, I know you remember the game. I know you remember the quote. You posted it, you liked it. I beat David last year with my joke of a team. Do I think it was a little bit of a luck thing? For sure. But I remember that game very well because I enjoyed it a lot because I don't remember how many games he lost last year. What was it? He lost. Is that counting the playoff loss of the fourth one, or is that actually
Yeah,
part of it?
yeah. This should, yeah,
Yeah.
it counts it. Yep.
I don't remember what the roster was. I feel like I remember I made a quarterback switch and you were like commenting like that was a great play swapping in Aaron Rodgers or something like that. I put together like the best possible team I could have in that moment, and David had like the worst possible outcome for his team, and it happens, but I just remember it being a very fond moment for me. So
Yeah. And look, at the end of the day, man, like still an incredible run. He had like 13. It was some insane stat how many consecutive weeks he scored 100 points. Yeah, it was since week 1. He scored 100 consecutive points. Honestly, the streak is still alive as we speak.
oh
So
well, no, he lost it one at Owen.
no, that's what I'm saying. It was week 2 on, and since
Oh,
then,
week two. Oh, okay. No, I thought
yeah.
you were saying week one. My bad.
Yeah, so he has yet to score under 100 points since week 2, almost a full year and calendar year of last season. So David, very, very strong season. And, just to recap a little bit, let's actually go back to it because there was a lot of good. Obviously, the amazing draft pick of Lamar Jackson really helped him out. And he told me on draft night that's who I wanted. I wanted to pair up Derek with Lamar. And these first three, honestly, these first four picks all played pivotal roles for David Katz. He finally took the draft serious. And once again, we see another scenario where it pays off. And then an amazing pick of Baker Mayfield at pick 137 at the end of the draft. So David really set his team up for glory these last 2 seasons before this year with those first two picks. Jahmyr Gibbs picked 9 overall in 2023, DJ Moore picked 27 overall in 2023, and then Derrick Henry at pick 5 and Lamar Jackson at pick 9 in 2024. That is excellent drafting. That now brings him to the run that he had last year. Lamar Jackson finishes as QB1, the most points ever scored in UFL history at 585 points. Derrick Henry as RB2 at 478 points. Just fantastic. And then Jahmyr Gibbs to round out that those three special players. However, Where we have seen David really struggle is at the wide receiver position. His best player was Jackson Smith and Jigba, and he was wide receiver 10 at 318 points. But DJ Moore and Jordan Addison have to improve. Jared, going into 2025, David is running back the exact same starting lineup, specifically at wide receiver. Do you feel confident that JSN and DJ Moore and Jordan Addison can take the next step to really help David propel him to a UFL Cup?
I liked how you said JSN because it's a mouthful saying his name always.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, no, I I feel like it comes down to the Sam Darnold thing. If the Sam Darnold thing and wasn't a 1 year thing and it wasn't just Kevin O'Connell just perfectly whispering in Sam's ear what to do, like I think it can work out good for him because I mean Jackson's moving into where he's gonna get a lot of targets. Like he's the focal point of that offense for the most part, outside of Kenneth Walker and then the guy he's got on his bench with Charbonnet, which I kind of like Charbonnet. I do like that. We'll get there, but um I think the Jackson Smith one, I think he should be feeling good about that. He's even if it's a little sketchy some weeks where maybe it's just a bad game by the Seahawks, because I think there's going to be a lot of bad games for the Seahawks this year. I think Jackson Smith, he should be getting volume though. Lots of
Yeah.
opportunities, no worries there. DJ Moore, I'm waiting to see what the Bears offense is going to be looking like. If they are really going to be running it through DJ, are we going to be getting something like the Lions where Amon-Ra type production for DJ, lots of quick targets or anything like that? I don't know if
Right.
that's necessarily in the cards for him.
Right.
But I think Jackson and DJ, both of them, I like them both for good opportunities, lots of targets, and I
Yep.
think he should be feeling good. I feel like those projections are a little, I don't want to say harsh, but on the lower end, I would think.
Yeah, yeah, specifically with losing Addison and replacing him with Goddard. Um, David is bringing back the same exact team, same bench really, except for Chigo Okonkwo now joins the mix as his backup tight end. That's fine at $1 million. A very head-scratching pick of Deontay Johnson. However, he had no choice. His cell service went out, so he had to go with whatever it was. So he's obviously probably going to drop Deontay as Deontay's been released in real life. Now somebody that if David did add would be really good, I think, is Jalen Coker from the Carolina Panthers. He's at $1 million. I think that would be a really good way to boost up this lineup. But overall, it's a good team. He's probably missing about one piece, and I look at that wide receiver tight end position. Are we kind of have we seen the end of Dallas Goedert being a top five fantasy tight end in your opinion?
I wonder what the Eagles do look like next year. I don't want to say it's the end for Goddard, but I definitely think it's just so I think it's just so sketchy to play him week in, week out because you don't know which Eagles you're getting. Like if the Eagles are in an easy game, they have no shame running the ball 40 times a game and just steamrolling a team. But if they're in a game where they're throwing the ball, I feel like Goddard is a good fantasy tight end. Like I feel like he does make plays. He goes downfield, he can stretch the field, but I don't want to say it's we're done with Goddard yet, just because of his age. I think it more comes down to the scenario he's in where they don't need him to be that good.
Yeah, yeah, and I agree. I mean, when you have AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, you don't need Goddard to be that main target on that offense. And oh, Saquon Barkley is there as well. So we've kind of see Goddard just take a back seat, and that's fine. But when you're constantly having to start him week to week, I think that could cause problems for David. But before we go into any more, let's just look at David real quick. He's going into his fifth year. And honestly, last year was by far his best year. It was the first time ever that David Katzenmeyer made the UFL playoffs, and he almost won the whole damn thing. It was the first time ever that David was above 500 in a UFL season. So this could be a new era here. And we're talking about a guy that has never had above 48% league win percentage, never had above a 44% win percentage. So that just a lot of things to look forward to. But one thing is for sure, he has not had a lucky season since 2020, which is actually pretty hilarious. So we're seeing an owner on the upswing in terms of power score, an unreal 98.65 power score. That's amazing. And the last season alone brought him into the top three among all UFL owners just from last season alone. That just shows you how much points and how dominant that season was. So the question becomes, can Lamar Jackson repeat what he did because it's no by no surprise. I mean, nowadays if you have the best quarterback in the UFL, you're going to make the playoffs more than likely. So Lamar was a big reason why David went as far as he did. Are you as confident in Lamar? And does this injury about his foot scare you at all? Does anything scare you off about Lamar? Are you fully confident that he can redo that 2024 season?
I wouldn't be scared for him considering he does have Baker Mayfield off the bench. Now, do I think Baker is going to do the same thing he did last year? I don't think so. I think both the quarterbacks are in for slight decline. I think it's just unrealistic because they both threw 40 touchdowns, I believe, last year.
Yeah.
And that's for Lamar, that's crazy to imagine. I just that's insane with how much he runs and how much value he brings in the ground game for him to throw 40 touchdowns. It's
Yep.
crazy. And I think next season to expect that kind of passing production, maybe. I maybe see he balances it out in the running department. Maybe it does come out to a similar season. But I just would imagine his quarterbacks are not going to be contributing as much as last year, but we should still be seeing the same tier of player, like because it's Lamar Jackson. I'm
Yeah.
not worried about the foot injury. Maybe a couple games he misses here and there, but Baker Mayfield should be able to slide in okay.
Yep, absolutely. Now, speaking of Baker Mayfield, I mean, this has been a player that David has consistently kind of waved out there, looking to see if anybody's going to bite on Baker. Does anybody want to make a trade? He has been in talks with Owen extensively last season. They almost got a deal done towards the deadline that would involve Drake London. That did not go through. So a lot of things have been talked about according to Baker Mayfield. David, before the draft, even mentioned not bringing back Baker, letting him walk to the draft. And then Goddard gets restructured, which gives David a little bit more cap, just enough to where he brings back Baker again. Um, I mean, you just told me you don't think Baker is going to repeat the 2024. Is there a scenario where David starts Baker at some point this year, you think? Do you think he should be trading him? If you had this quarterback,
I think
he's
it comes
through.
down to his division. The
Okay.
Bucks, they're playing. We have the Panthers, Saints, Falcons.
Yep.
Okay, the Panthers, I believe, were in the top five worst pass units last year.
Yeah.
I know the Falcons were in that. So
Yeah.
two of the worst pass defenses of
Right.
last year. So Baker just there's four games right there where he can just go lights out maybe, and that could be the weeks that he needs. I don't know if that's going to line up with when Lamar plans on getting hurt, but I imagine Lamar plays week one, regardless of what happens to him in that game, barring like a career altering injury.
Hmm.
He's going to finish that Buffalo game. That game is personal for them for sure.
Yep.
So I think until like something serious happens to where the Ravens would want Lamar to not be on the field, because even if he's partly hurt, I do not imagine that the Ravens believe in Cooper Rush to go out there and win them those games.
No.
So I don't think Lamar is going to let his team down in that regard. He might
Yep.
not be able to play at 100%, but I still think 65% Lamar Jackson is going to be better than 100% Cooper Rush.
If you were in charge of David's team right now, would you be shopping Baker Mayfield?
With how his team is built right now, if only if that with you what you said with Drake London, yes. I don't think it's crazy for him to move Baker Mayfield, get him a serviceable receiver that'll be more consistent than Goddard, or even make a play for a tight end. Maybe give up a draft pick and Baker and go get one of the top 10 tight ends, top five tight ends, and then have a difference maker there. And then maybe make that push for the UFL Cup fully and
Yeah.
go pick up a QB of the future or something. Because I
Right.
mean, Dart's out there. There's options. There's
Yeah.
quarterbacks that are maybe not the best option, but
Right.
they'll get the job done.
Absolutely. And I'm just looking at David's team now. I just think at wide receiver, again, I keep mentioning it. This is what is starting to scare me a little bit is are we ever going to see DJ Moore take that next step into the tier one range among wide receivers? And if not, that's okay because now DK Metcalf has been traded from Seattle, which should give JSN a bigger role. But then again, you don't know with Cooper Kupp now being added to the mix. In your opinion, Jared, between DJ Moore and Jackson Smith and Jigba, do you see either one being a true wide receiver one this year?
In our league with the new rules, I would be curious to see how DJ Moore performs because I feel like DJ Moore would be benefiting, I feel like, more from these rules.
See,
Do you feel the same?
you want to know
Or was
something
it
crazy?
backwards, actually?
DJ Moore was the only receiver that declined in points
Really?
with the new rules because He had a lot of receptions last year, but he did not surpass 1,000 yards, which just goes to show it was all underneath stuff, and he just never he was accumulating points just based on pure catching it, but there was no real yardage gain in some of those plays. And now I think he only declined like 10 points or something because every wide receiver really got boosted. But yeah, he had 274. I think he had 279. So maybe it was like a 5 point. But he was the only one that decreased. And it's because last season there was just so many underneath games where,
Yeah, no,
you
I'm
know,
seeing it. I just was imagining him more in a role where he'd be getting more explosive plays, I guess. Maybe
because
I'm imagining before.
yeah, you are because DJ has now been used as mostly a behind the line of scrimmage player on screens and just almost like a gadget player, and that's not who he's shown to be. Now, I do think Roma Dunze should be, excuse me, this happens every time. Roma Dunze should be the main X number one receiver in terms of big route runner, good hands, all that. But DJ's an excellent, excellent complement as a boundary flanker. And I just think that would be best suited for Chicago's offense, but I'm very fascinated to see if DJ Moore and Jackson Smith and Jigba can hold it down. Because, guys, I mean, I'll pull it up right here. If you go look at the UFL Cup, if you go look at this UFL Cup, the main difference maker ended up being at the wide receiver position. Let me widen my screen here. Yeah, so everything else, David was dominating. I mean, Lamar 38 points, Derrick Henry 41, Jahmyr Gibbs 37. DJ Moore and Jackson Smith and Jigba combined for 21 points that game. You cannot have that happen in the UFL Cup. And that, in the end, that is what broke David right there. 8 points from Jackson Smith and Jigba and 13 from DJ Moore. That's got to change. And David is giving them another opportunity to get better and make a change and improve and help his team win. He's showing them that he trusts them and he's going to rely on them, but they've got to execute. So I'm fascinated to see what happens there. Now, looking at the running back room, Jared, Derrick Henry is back. He gets a bump in salary from 8 million now to 15 million. So, and then Jahmyr Gibbs is still at 4 million. Now, Derrick Henry. He was offered pick six from Colt Pletcher for Derrick Henry before the draft. He stuck with Derrick. What is your thoughts on Henry? Can he have another 20 season like 2024?
I do. The only reason I think he can, I don't, maybe not to the extent because I do feel like part of it came from with what was going on with the Eagles and like with the Packers with Jacobs. Like I feel like there was a weird something was in the air last year with the resurgence of the running backs. And I don't want to say it's a lock for him because look at that last 3 week stretch. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's like 500 yards rushing in 3 games almost right
Yeah.
there.
It's insane.
And so I feel like that would be just a stretch because how much did he get to? Did he get to like 1700? How close? How much did he end up getting by the end of the season?
He had 1900 points.
1920.
I
So he was
think.
even almost on the 2000. So
Yeah.
that I think is just that's just another thing where it's just like it's the top tier performance that you could expect, and to expect that again, even if it is the best of the best, I don't think it's fair to the player to just say that you're like, yeah, I'm expecting 1900 yards, 15 rushing touchdowns. Like that's just crazy. So
You know,
I think we expect it to go down a little bit with
I,
especially his age.
I will say this though, the stack kind of helps David here because if those 16 rushing touchdowns go to Lamar instead, David's fine.
Yeah, no, he is in
So
a good spot to where it's just moving the points around rather
he
than
is.
losing the points altogether.
Right, he's putting a lot of trust in the Baltimore Ravens offense, and I think rightfully so.
No,
So
yeah.
now, if Derrick Henry isn't exactly what he was last year, I think that's fine because we've got an absolute superstar in
Hmm.
Jahmyr Gibbs, 1,400 yards rushing last year, 500 yards receiving, so for almost 2,000 yards total, 20 total touchdowns, which is insane. Jahmyr Gibbs is just electric on all facets, and I really think we're about to see a true running back one type season. I mean, he's pretty much right there, anyways. Jared, just give me your thoughts on Jahmyr Gibbs and if you think he's a superstar like I do, because I think
I
he's fantastic.
it doesn't make sense. Like just look at how effortless some of these performances are. Like on a like he's just so explosive. He
Yep.
just does things like they don't even need to give him the ball 25 times because when you give it to him
Yeah.
5 times, he just seems to make enough happen with that.
Right. Right.
And
That's a great
I
point.
think that it's more there. like it's like lightning in a bottle for him. And I think the David Montgomery is kind of like, here, we're gonna wear you down. And then when it's like, all right, 3rd and 5, we need something flashy to happen. All right, we're gonna give it to Gibbs on something crafty. And then
Yeah.
Gibbs is gonna take that 60 yards and just do something with it. And
Yep.
I think that's more it could hurt him a little bit where he's not getting just rammed the football all the time, but I
Yep.
think it benefits him a little bit. And I think that does make him more appealing by not being just force-fed carries.
Absolutely. I love that a lot. Going to Jordan Addison real quick, and let me see if I can move this out of the way. Going to Jordan Addison real quick. He's suspended for the first 3 games of the season here. So he's gonna miss Jordan Addison against Cole, myself, week 1, Caleb week 2, Brandon week 3. Is this concerning you at all? I'm just trying to think, why has David brought back the same team, which rightfully so, and it was a team that was first in the UFL in points scored, had almost 2,000 points scored total on the year, his entire team, which hasn't been done since 2021 in the UFL. Why is he being kind of I kind of hate it against by ESPN projections. Like, what are we missing? Is David, do you not see him being the same powerhouse he was last year? I mean, he's still projected 122 week 1, but is this Jordan Addison suspension? Is that really going to hurt him when Addison is not
I
100%?
I don't feel like it's just coming back to what I was saying with the other players that they performed at such a high level last year
Right.
that it's hard to do better than that.
Yep.
And I think it just leads to I think he did enough last year to win a UFL Cup.
I
I
agree.
think realistically that like the points he put up in the finals, like it's not like his team failed.
No,
They did
no.
lose the game, yes, but they put up enough points to where like he should have been like, all right, that just really sucks that Malik Neighbors put up 40 something on me.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I mean, even week
And
2, he puts up one. He literally puts up 164 against Andrew in the semifinals because he had a bye week 1 because of his first round seeding. So then he puts up 164 against Andrew in the semis, and then he puts up 159 against myself. I mean, again though, the DJ Moore seemed to be a real problem in the end, putting up 17 and then 13. That seemed to really kill him in the end was at wide receiver. But David, that three-headed monster of Lamar, Derrick Henry, and Jahmyr Gibbs, it was unprecedented what we had seen. So I agree. I mean, you can't exactly expect somebody to be putting up 150 each game. I was a little surprised to see David on the lower end at 122 week 1. But like you said, a lot of things can change, right?
I think I feel like a lot of it is the uncertainty. Like I feel like even ESPN's not sure. Like they're probably being maybe I don't want to say they're being harsher on the players that are in new scenarios, but the Seahawks, they're going to look different next year, and the Bears are probably going to look completely
Yeah.
different. So I feel like the data that they're going off of is just maybe skewed a little bit, or it's on the safe side so that they're not like completely wrong.
Yep. I think you are
I
exact.
think we could expect David to definitely move back into that dominant, like #1 in the power rankings, where even projections are saying he just outright wins it. But
Yep. And I
I think
will
we
say,
just need to see some stuff.
yeah. I will say he plays David and or Caleb and Brandon other than myself weeks 2 and 3. David is 6-1 all time against Caleb, which is insane. And he's 3-0 against Brandon. So you're talking about a combined 9-1 against those two teams. Maybe
Does he
his
play Bryson this year?
I actually don't know if he plays Bryson. He does, yes, week 5.
Okay. He's got a chance to close out that win sheet. I don't know if you saw it. He's got two people he hasn't beaten before.
Yep, you and Bryson, that's right. Hey, we will see. So just really interesting here from David, but as we wrap this up, we kind of went through the entire team from a cap situation. I think David's in a fine spot. He's in a window. So when I sit here and tell you guys he has $4 million in cap space, yeah, as he should. He is in his UFL Cup window, in my opinion. He's trying. He's in a buy now contending window. Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield combining for $85 million is tight. I'm not going to lie. That is something to monitor moving forward at Baker Mayfield. Will he trade him at the deadline if things go south? Looking at the running back room, it's a combined $20 million. I think that is absolutely fine. You've got your big money in Derrick Henry, but you've got very cheap in Gibbs and Zach Charbonnet. Which, by the way, you want to touch on Charbonnet real quick? What's your thoughts on him? Are you
I
glad
I
David
think
kept him?
Charbonnet is a fantastic for with how his team's built, assuming no one gets hurt and he doesn't have to force play Charbonnet.
Right.
That's where I think the receiver thing could come in to bite him more. is that Charbonnet is his third running back. So if he loses the ability of playing Gibbs and Henry in that flex running back spot, him having to
Ah,
then go to Yoshivas or Deontay Johnson at the moment, if Addison's out for those first 3 weeks, that could be a problem a little bit.
I think you're
But
absolutely right.
I think Charbonnet, like last year, I always feel like anytime he comes in, he just performs and like just looks like he's able to run the ball well in this league and doesn't look like he's just a backup running back. Like it looks like he can go out there and really play some ball.
Yeah,
And
that's
I think if Charbonnet gets another opportunity and the Seahawks keep seeing Kenneth get hurt, I think they'll probably just be like, all right, we're done with you. We'll just run with this guy. He's running just as hard as you. And
yeah.
I think David could be in a good spot to where he flips this into maybe being another starting running back for him in the future.
100%. Looking at his wide receiver room, it's a combined $35 million. That averages $7 million a wide receiver. That is completely fine. However, and we've touched on this again, and I'm going to beat this into the ground. When DJ Moore is your top dog at $27 million, it is time for a top 10, top 15 wide receiver season out of Moore because we know we're probably going to get it from JSN. And you're not going to win a UFL Cup unless you have players that you need somebody that can break out and overvalue, like play well for their value. So can we see a $40 million type receiver season out of DJ Moore when he's only paid 27? That's what I want to see because he's not making Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson money right now, and that's good. So overall, he still has JSN on his rookie deal because he's gonna have to pay these guys eventually. This team is this may be it, guys, for David in this amazing window he's in. Things are gonna get very difficult next year. Um, Addison will eventually get paid. JSM, Yoshi Voss is at 1 million. I like the value there, especially as your depth
Mm.
wide receiver 4 or 5. Deontay Johnson will have to be cut, but for now he's $1 million. So wide receiver room solid, but they've got to produce in fantasy. Tight ends, Dallas Goddard and Chigakonkwo. The question remains, when is the end going to come for Dallas Goddard and David Katz? Looking at the history, let me see when David drafted Goddard. It has been he drafted him. Oh, it was only last year. I thought he had him the year before. Oh, yeah, he did. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Had him. Yeah, so he drafted him 2 years in a row. He drafted him 47th overall in 2023 and then 133 overall in 2024. So David is now rocking with Goddard for a third season. It just comes down to how much longer is this duo going to pair because we need Goddard. Goddard, I think, and we always talk about the X factor. I'm going to say it's him or DJ Moore for me. What are your thoughts on X factor for this team?
I think for the first 3 weeks, I think Goddard is the X
Ooh,
factor.
I like
And
that.
then down the stretch,
I like
I
that.
think Addison coming back, I think it really comes down to how did the JJ McCarthy led Vikings look?
Yep.
Because I think Addison could be in a spot where he could come in and maybe be the saving grace, actually, because I feel like Addison was probably more consistent than what DJ Moore was doing last season, maybe, or
Right.
was it more? Or at least I remember very explosive performances for Addison. Like I remember there was weeks where he definitely came in and helped David flood some people.
Yeah, I mean, he put up 277 points in 2024. DJ Moore put up 274 with this new scoring model. So Addison would have
Yeah.
put up 3 more points than DJ Moore. So very similar. And like you said, the consistency from week 11 to week 17 was absolutely there. So you're right, 100%. So I like what you said. When Addison is out, can Goddard get David to 2-1? Can if David only
He
drops,
does have a tough stretch there. I feel like
I,
he definitely wishes that Addison was not out for this stretch
yeah,
because
again, yeah,
going in with, I think, no, I guess it doesn't really get much better right after it. Demontre is a nice week 4,
yeah, I
but
agree. I agree. Bryson's tough. Week 5, he's never beat Bryson. And let's just go ahead and look at the schedule. First glance, I don't think it's too terrible. I think the Addison suspension hurts in the top, little quarter of the year. Middle of the year, I don't think there's any tough stretches towards the middle. It's not like he plays a bunch of elite teams back to back to back. The battle of the David versus Devin week 13 is going to be fantastic. I mean, I've talked about it. I think those two are really the cream of the crop of this league right now. And I think that game, week 13, David versus Devin, could decide seeding, massive implications for who gets the 1 seed possibly. So that's something to look out for. But overall, I think it's a fine schedule. Not having to play Trent hurts a little bit. No offense, Trent, but Trent's not exactly in a contending window, so I think taking him off your schedule kind of sucks because you could have hopefully gotten somebody like me or Devin or Andrew, to not play. So not playing Trent for the second year in a row does sting a little bit. No offense to you again. But overall, I think it's a fine schedule. It's just about getting through these first 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, no, I think if the team can stay afloat and still compete with Goddard in, I think once he gets back his real receiver, I think the scariest thing for David, honestly, the X factor for David is health. I think
Yeah.
it's health.
Wow.
Not even, I
Yeah.
don't even think it's his team. It's just can they stay on the field? I don't think
Yep.
there's any problems with the team. Maybe
Yeah.
a little bit of depth. You can get a little bit of depth, but
Right.
he's fine.
I think that was perfectly well said. Give me a record prediction on the spot. What do you think? 14 games. Can he repeat his?
I think he might drop. So I think we're gonna have a scary stretch for him. I think he starts 1-2, but we'll find a way to 9-5
Okay,
into the
that would be
into
good.
a playoff spot. Maybe not getting a bye week, but
Yeah.
I think 9-5. I think that's not too crazy because that won a cup last year. So
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right, I'm gonna go with 9 and I'm gonna go with 10-4. I'm gonna go with 10-4. I think David's
okay,
got a really good
okay.
team. I think he does get 10 wins once again. It's just about can he go win that illustrious UFO Cup. Week one, David, I don't know why I'm spitting so much. This is embarrassing. Week one, David versus myself, UFO Cup rematch. I can't wait. David's got a lot. He's going to be very fired up for that one. He's still in agonizing pain over that 2024 UFL Cup. We are now under a week away from that matchup beginning. I can't wait to play him. I think it's going to be fantastic. Just real quick, I'll probably do a week one podcast preview, but just to kind of point out, the only people that are leaving my lineup from that game was Brian Robinson Jr. at running back is now Ramondre Stevenson. And then for David, Dallas Goddard is now slotted in instead of Jordan Addison. But other than that, it's the same lineups going back at each other. I can't wait to play him. Jared, you have anything else?
I'm curious to see how it goes. I may the best man win.
Let's go, baby. David Katz should make another run this year. Can't wait to see what happens. Episode 14, fantastic pod. Next up, we have Demontre Jones. And boy, we got a lot to talk about with DJ.
Yeah.
That's for another time. Thank you guys. We'll see you next time.